Hey friends, what's up? And welcome back to Babylon Talmud. Today we're studying Daf Vav, Daf 6 of the Taanis. Friends, what does Daf Vav talk about? It talks about... my chair's uneven. Now it's even. Okay. It talks about the Yoreh and the Malkosh, the early rains, the later rains. Interesting stuff. More kind of a big agadatas page. So, friends, without further ado, we are on Daf Vav, 4 lines into the page. Tana Rabbanan, the rabbis taught. Yoreh Summore esabrios latiach gagosein lachnes es perusein. Alright. So there's something called the Yoreh rains and the Malkosh rains. Who could tell me what those are? Yoreh is the early rains. It's like the first rains of the season. And the Malkosh is the rains that come at the end of the season. So why is it called the Yoreh rains? Well, Summore, it teaches the people like, hey, friends, summer's over. You better start bringing things inside because it's going to get rainy and watery. Don't let stuff get ruined. So it says Yoreh Summore Sabrios, that it teaches the people latiach gagosein to fix your roofs, ulachnes es perusein, to bring in your fruits, v'las is called tzorkein, and do whatever you got to do in preparation for the rainy seasons. Davar acher, alternatively, shemerave esaretz, it saturates the land, umashka to home, and it gives to drink, I guess, until the depths. All right, sounds very nice. Shenemar, as the pasuk says, "Till mea rave," it saturates the furrows, nachis ketudel, and makes the people happy. Barvivim temokegeno, and with I just looked it up a second ago. Wait, I got the translation right here actually. Quickly. Barvivim temokegeno simcha tevarich. With showers you soften it; its growth you bless. All right, that sounds nice. Where are we now? Davar acher, alternatively, Yoreh sheyored benachas, alternatively, Yoreh, because it's yored benachas, kind of chilled, falling. Ve'eno yored bezaf, it doesn't fall with anger. Alright, oeno yoreh, ela shemesher saperos, umashtev esazorim, umashtev esoilanus. Wait, fact Gemara, 1 second. Perhaps, maybe Yoreh isn't very friendly at all. Maybe it's shemesher saperos, it like knocks down, it like ruins makes all the fruits fall off the trees, umashtev esazorim, and it washes away the seeds, umashtev esoilanus, and washes away the trees. Tamalomar malkosh. Well, it says Yoreh umalkosh in the pasuk, right? Of course, in Kriya Shema. So ma malkosh lebracha af Yoreh lebracha. Well, just like the malkosh, the later rains are a blessing, so also the earlier rains are a blessing. Go eno el malkosh el shamapilas abatum mishaber silanus umayles askoin. But then, fact the Gemara, 1 second. But maybe malkosh isn't particularly friendly either. Maybe malkosh is shemapilas abatim. It knocks down the houses. Meshaber silanus, and it breaks the trees. Umayles askoin, and it brings locusts. So that doesn't sound very nice. Tamlomer Yoreh. Well, it says Yoreh umalkosh. So there's the Yoreh livracha. Mayor livracha af malkosh livracha. Just like the Yoreh is blessed, also the malkosh is blessed. Just like the earlier rains are blessed, also the later rains are blessed. V'yoreh gufim nolan. Okay, fine. But then, how do we know that the Yoreh rains are in fact friendly? Well, because the pasuk says, "Uvnei Tzion, children of Zion, gilu v'simchu b'Hashem Elokechem, rejoice and be happy with God, with Hashem your God. Kinosan lechem Summore litzdaka, because He gave you the Yoreh rains litzdaka, v'yored lachem geshem or malkosh barishon, and will bring down for you rain, the Yoreh and the malkosh barishon in the first month." Now, so we see that it says Hamor litzdaka, that the Yoreh is charity, and there is positive, good vibes, and therefore the Yoreh is for blessing, and Memele, the Malkosh is also blessed. Tana Rabbanan, the rabbis taught Yoreh b'Marcheshvan u'Malkosh b'Nisan. Okay, when are the Yoreh rains? Marcheshvan. We're already in Kislev already. Wow, Hanukkah's coming up. I bet they already have the Sufkaniyot in the Shuk. They must. I guess I'm not really paying attention. I go in, get my pizza, come back, That's pretty much it. And then Fridays I pick up apples. I used to buy 5 apples at a time, but now I buy 7 because otherwise I run out and I don't replenish. Yeah, I haven't been doing much stuff recently. Yeah, Fridays I pick up stuff. So I was like, let me just buy 7 apples at a time, and then I'll just have to do it once a week. And how did we get into this? Okay, how did we get into this? Because, right, Cheshvan and Kislev and Mistam and Shuk Machne Yehuda, they already have sufganiyot. I probably shouldn't be eating sufganiyot. As it is, I haven't been eating so good. We have a retro. We have a weekly retro, like with work, where we kind of write what's going well, what's not going well. Already in advance, I already put in the bad column that I haven't been eating good. I don't know what to do. Dude, I really shouldn't be talking about this. Let's go weiter. Fine. Taner Rabbanan, Yoreh b'Marcheshvan u'Malkosh b'Nisan. So, Yoreh is in Marcheshvan, and Malkosh, so the earlier rains are in Cheshvan, and the later rains are in Nisan. Alright? Ata Omer, Yoreh b'Marcheshvan, ho'enu ela b'chodesh Kislev. Wait, maybe the Yoreh rains, whoa, one second, I just skipped like 5 lines. Taner Rabbanan, where we're supposed to be. Yoreh b'Marcheshvan u'Malkosh b'Nisan. The Yoreh rains are in Cheshvan, the Malkosh rains are in Nisan. Ata Omer, Yoreh b'Marcheshvan u'Malkosh b'Nisan. Is it true that the Yoreh rains are in Marcheshvan and the Malkosh rains are in Nisan? Or eno ela Yoreh b'Tishrei u'Malkosh b'Iyar. Maybe the Yoreh, the earlier rains, are in Tishrei and the Malkosh rains are taka in Iyar. Tamalomer b'Ito. Says no, at its proper time, and I guess the proper time for the Yoreh rains is in Marcheshvan, and the proper time for Malkosh rains would be in Nisan. Alright. My Malkosh, what is Malkosh? Amar Rav Nihilai Bar Idi Amar Shmuel Davar Shemol Kashrusein Shel Yisrael, something that kilu breaks the hardness of the Yidden, because if those rains don't come, so then the Yidden fast and they pray and they soften up in order to beseech God for these rains. Divrei Bishmal Tana. We saw in the Besmedrash for Bishmal that the Malkosh is something that's mimale, the tvua bikashel, something that kind of fills up the grain in its stalks. Masnisa Tana was takaton nabraisa davashore alam lilos valakoshin davashayored alam lilos valakoshin, something that for the rain that falls on these stalks of grain that are, I guess, already at the end of the season. Okay. Now, back to where I jumped the gun a few minutes ago. Okay, so the earlier rains are Marcheshvan, the later rains are Nisan. Maybe the earlier rains are in Chodesh Kislev. So Memela this year, the earlier rains are going to be in Kislev, because we haven't really had the earlier rains yet. Alright. I don't think so. I mean, it rained like once maybe, but nothing special. But it'll rain. Bezat Hashem, it'll rain. We'll get wet. There's always that one time a year when you get stuck in like a rainstorm. That, at least me, happens like once a year. I'll be going somewhere and like I gotta get from A to B, and I'll think like, okay, it's not really raining, I should be able to make it, and boom, it just opens up, man, and you just get soaked. Alright. Tamalomer bi'ito, Yoreh Malkosh. So it says at its proper time, the Yoreh and the Malkosh, ma Malkosh bi'ito, have Yoreh bi'ito. Fine, just like the Malkosh rains come at the right time, so also the Yoreh rains come at the right time. But the thing in Eretz Yisrael is that even when you're like get absolutely soaked and it's like annoying, it's still gewaldig, because in Eretz Yisrael, like people like rain over here because we need it. Like right now, it was like today was like all like dusty and stuff, and like fires and stuff. Like yeah, we like the rain over here. Tani Idach, we learned another brisa. Yoreh b'Marcheshvan u'Malkosh b'Nisan. Divrei Reb Meir. The Reb Meir says that the Yoreh rains are in Marcheshvan, the Malkosh rains are in Nisan. The Chacham say Yoreh b'Kislev. That the Yoreh rains are even in Kislev. Man Chacham. Who's the Chacham? It's very interesting when the Gemara asks this, right? Who's the Chacham? It's Reb Yossi. It's super interesting. Like, I don't know, the whole concept of like the Chachamim, it's such a moving target. So here's, who's the Chachamim? Reb Yossi. Okay. So Reb Meir is arguing with Reb Yossi, that's who the Chachamim is. Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, I don't know, like, Chacham isn't any like, it's just like, it's like kind of relative, I guess. In this case, Chacham could even just be like, the consent, you just, Reb Yossi, I guess, alright. The Taanis, we learn in a brisa, Ezo hi revir rishona. So, what is kilu the first rains of the season? Abachir b'shloshu b'Marcheshvan, beinonis b'shivabo, afila b'shiva asabo divrei Meir. So we're going to see in a few minutes what the difference is. Why we're listing 3 dates. like what's the difference between the first, the second, and the third, but the earliest of the first rains is the 3rd of Mar Cheshvan. Then the second sort of rain phase is the 7th of Mar Cheshvan, and the third is the 17th of Mar Cheshvan. That is Reb Meir's opinion. Reb Yehuda Omer, whereas Reb Yehuda says b'shiva u'v'yud zayin u'v'esem v'shlosha, that according to Reb Yehuda, it's the 7th of Mar Cheshvan, the 17th of Mar Cheshvan, and the 23rd. Reb Yossi Omer, whereas Reb Yossi says b'yud zayin u'v'esem v'shlosha u'v'rosh chodesh Kislev, that it's the 17th of Mar Cheshvan, the 23rd, as well as Rosh Chodesh Kislev. So you see that of the three opinions, Reb Meir, Reb Yehuda, and Reb Yossi is the only one who says that these earlier rains, that the earlier rains extend into Kislev. And again, we're going to see in a few minutes what exactly is the significance of these three sort of dates. V'chein haya Reb Yossi Omer, and similarly, Reb Yossi would say, "Ene echidim mesanin ad sheger Rosh Chodesh Kislev," that the individuals do not fast until Rosh Chodesh Kislev comes. We're going to learn in a few days that if these three stages haven't arrived, right? Let's say according to Reb Meir, so we said it would be the 3rd, the 7th, and the 17th of Mar Cheshvan. So if all three of those sort of points, those dates arrive, and there's still no rain, so then the sort of special people, the Gemara ultimately says that it's the rabbis, Rashi here says it's the Hasidim, whatever it is, these individuals, they start to fast so that there should be rain. So according to Reb Yossi, these individuals only start fasting on the 1st of Kislev, because according to him, it's the 17th of Mar Cheshvan, the 23rd, and then Rosh Chodesh Kislev. If rain still has not come by then, so then the individuals begin to fast for the rain. Amar of Chizda says of Chizda, halacha Reb Yossi, that halacha is like Reb Yossi. Okay? Amema masni ladu of Chizda b'halishna. Amema teachers of Chizda's statement about the halacha, about what the halacha is, in the following way: that we have a Mishnah. Where's this Mishnah? On Daf Yud. So it says that on the 3rd of Mar Cheshvan, that is when we start saying V'sein Talmud Levacha. Rabbi Gamliel says on the 7th day of Mar Cheshvan. Okay. Rav Chizda halacha Rabbi Gamliel, and that's what Rav Chizda says. Rav Chizda says, well, who's the halacha like? It's like Rabbi Gamliel. So meaning a second ago we said that Rav Chizda says that the halacha is like Rav Yossi, the Gabe. So the third date being Rosh Chodesh Kislev, those who say that what Rav Chizda is saying is that no, who's the halacha like? The halacha is like Rabbi Gamliel, and the machlokas between him and the Tanakama about do you start saying V'sein Talmud Levacha on the 3rd or the 7th of Tishrei. Okay? Kiman Azlo Adatanya, friends, who is the following brisa like? Reb Shimon ben Gamliel Omer, says Reb Shimon ben Gamliel, Rebbe's father, of course, Reb Gamliel's son. Hisham sheyardu shiva yom ze'achar ze atamone boin revia rishona v'shniya v'shlishis. Kiman Reb Yossi, Amar Chizda halacha Reb Yossi. Let's read that again. So who does the following brisa go like? The Reb Shimon ben Gamliel says that you can have rain fall for, I don't know if it's either 2 consecutive 7-day periods, or like, let's say it rains once and then 7 days later it like rains again for 7 days, something like that. But basically, who's the one that says that if you have 2 7-day periods, essentially, it could satisfy all of your sort of Yoreh dates? And we say it's Reb Yossi. What does that mean? It means that, well, according to Reb Yossi, what are the Yoreh dates? The 17th, 23rd, and the 1st of Kislev. So if you think about it like 7 days out of in 7-day kind of chunks, so from the 17th to the 23rd, from the 23rd to the 30th. So Kilu, according to Reb Yossi, in sort of 2 7-day periods, you can, essentially, I guess all 3 of those dates, the 17th, 23rd, and 30th, all fall within 2 7-day chunks. Whereas if you look at like Rabbi Yehuda, so he says it's the 3rd, the 7th, but then it's 10 days until the 17th, right? According to that was Reb Meir, right? So according to Rabbi Yehuda, it is the 7th, the 17th, and then the 23rd. We have that 10-day gap between the 7th and the 17th. Whereas Rabbi Yossi, each of the days kind of are within 7 days of each other. There's never more than that. All right, that sounds very nice. So right, so we said Reb Shimon Gamliel Omer that if you have like these 2 7-day periods, so atamone boen Revia Rishona V'Shnia V'Shlishis, you can have the first, second, and third Yorez. Kaman Reb Yossi, that's like Reb Yossi, Reb Chizda, Allah Reb Yossi, and says Reb Chizda that the Allah is Taka like Reb Yossi, that these 3 periods are the 17th, the 23rd of Mar Cheshvan, and Rosh Chodesh Kislev. Bishlama Revia Rishona Lishol Shlishis Lis'ano Shnia Lemais. Now the Gemara wants to know what is the significance of these days, right? So we said that Allah is like Reb Yossi, fine. So you have the 17th of Cheshvan, the 23rd of Cheshvan, and Rosh Chodesh Kislev. For what? So B'Shlomo Revia Rishona Lishol. Well, the 17th is that according to Reb Yossi, you start saying V'Sein Talamot Levracha on the 17th of Mar Cheshvan. Shlishis Lisanus. And the third day, being the first of Kislev, is to fast. That if rain has not yet fallen by the first of Kislev, so then the individuals begin to fast. Shnia Lemai. What is the significance of the second day? According to Reb Yossi, that would be the 23rd of Mar Cheshvan. So Amar Reb Zera, it says Reb Zera Lindarim. Givaldig. For Nidarim. What does that mean? The Taanis, we learned in the Mishnah. No, there are Ada Geshamim. And then there's a different gears to change over here. Should we go for it? Yeah, why not? Or Achi Yehu Geshamim. So if somebody says that he's making a vow until until the rains come, or what do we say? Achi Yehu, or until there will be rains. Achi Yere, Achi Tered V'Yashnia. That is a reference to the second of rain, right? So according to Reb Yossi, that would be the 23rd of Mar Cheshvan. So if a fellow says, I don't know, I'm not going to eat, friends, what don't you want to eat? What was something that I realized recently that I don't eat? I can't remember. Maybe ice cream. I mean, don't get me wrong, I like ice cream, but I don't eat it because, I don't know, I'm not going to get into that. But, so let's say a fellow says he's not going to eat ice cream until the rainy season. So, no, don't get me wrong. I totally eat ice cream. If you serve me ice cream, I'll eat it. Mistama, I'll eat it. A fellow says that he's not going to eat ice cream until the till the rain. So it's talking about that middle one. So according to Reb Yossi, that would be the 23rd of Cheshvan. Yeah, I do eat ice cream, but I eat ice cream. I never buy ice cream because here's the thing. As I said earlier, especially recently, I've just been eating whatever I could eat quickly, and therefore I haven't necessarily been eating so healthy. So therefore, if I need to eat a meal, if it's unhealthy, it's not good at all. I don't know, Sharna, maybe I got this all wrong. But here's my thinking, that if it's lunchtime, and I gotta eat something, because otherwise I'll be hungry, I won't be able to focus. So, I just gotta run and buy pizza or something. Whatever, maybe it's not the best thing, but it is what it is. But I'm not gonna, ice cream doesn't really fit into that. I don't need to eat ice cream, and therefore I'm just not gonna go for it. If I'm already, eating, stuff that isn't ideal, so at least do it for meals, not for snacks. I don't know, Shauna, did that make sense? You don't have to answer that. And Rashi says on that the reason why it goes based on the second rain, it's very interesting. He says, because b'nedarim holchen achel l'shon b'nei adam. We had this also recently. I can't remember exactly where right now, but when it comes to vows, nedarim, we go based on what sort of people's regular manners of speech. And therefore, if a person says, is referring to the rain time, so mistame, he's referring to that sort of second slot. Okay. Fine. Rav Zvid Amar says Rav Zvid l'zeisim, that is 4 olives. The Taanis we learned in a Mishnah. Meimaso kol adam mutarin beleket b'shichcha uvefeya. At what point can anybody chaparain from leket, shichcha, and peya? Leket, of course, being that if a fellow is harvesting his field and some of the stuff falls on the ground, I think it's only up to 3 stalks, I believe. B'shichcha, or if you forget to harvest certain things, uvefeya, or leave in the corner of your field. So that's, of course, for the poor people, for people who sort of can really use this food. What if, but at a certain point, if the poor people haven't chaptarain, so then anybody can chaptarain. So at what mutarin? So at what point is anybody able to chaptarain? So when it comes to leket, shichach, and peya, it's from the time that the Nemushos went away. So the Nemushos are these like chapenariners, these people who like go through the field and chaperein very thoroughly. So once they've thoroughly chaperein, so then anybody can go through when it comes to leket shechal peah. V'feret u'olos, these are like these like deformed grape clusters. Mishielchu aniyim b'kerim v'yavo. So once the poor people have gone into the field and then already gone through the field a second time as well, so at that point anybody can go for whatever grapes are there. B'zeisim, when it comes to olives, mishaterid revia shnia, that is once the second rain falls. So we see there as well that once the second rain, so that's something that where the second rain is significant. That after the second rain, anybody can chaperein olives. My nemushos, who are these chapenariners? So Amar Rabbi Yochanan says, Rabbi Yochanan Savid Azli Atigra, it's these elder people who walk with a stick. Alright, and because they go very slowly, and I guess they chaperein. Rish Lakish Amar, Rish Lakish says Lekute Basa Lekute, it's these people who gather after gatherers, but Rashi says that it's like a fellow who walks through the field with his like child, so like they're both chaperein. Once they both chaperein, so then other people could chaperein. Alright. Rav Papa Amar says Rav Papa Kedei Lahalech B'Shvilei HaRishus. So Rav Papa says, what's the significance of this second Yoreh date? It is in order to walk on these permissible paths. What are permissible paths? So permissible paths are basically fields. That if you have fields, so in the summertime where nobody's planting in those fields, so even if they're privately owned, you're allowed to walk through them. But once already it becomes the planting season, so then you can no longer walk through them. So it says Rav Papa, we said that you're allowed to walk through these fields until you're allowed to walk through these privately owned fields until the second rain. Once sort of the second rain comes, you can no longer go there because already people are working their fields and planting them. So and that is that sort of second date. So if we go based on Rabbi Yossi, that would be the 23rd of Cheshvan. Rav Nachman bar Yitzchak Omer says Rav Nachman bar Yitzchak levar perish shvius, that it's in order to, right at that point you have to take the fruits of Shemitah. We're in Shemitah right now. At that point you have to take them out, the fruits out of your house. The Taanis, we learned in the Mishnah, ad moshe nenen v'sorfim b'tevin uv'kash shel shvius. At what point can you get benefit from and you can burn the tevin, I don't know, like kash is straw. What's tevin? Like, I don't know, maybe hay or something, some other kind of growing from the ground thing. Shel shvius of Shemitah, acheter revia shnia, until the second until the second rainfall. My timer, how come you have to get rid of these things like straw and stuff? The Chsiv, as the Pasuk says, that in the context of Shemitah, it says to your domesticated animal and to the wild, undomesticated animals in your land. As long as there's food for the undomesticated animals to eat out in the field, so Beseder, you can, keep things in your house and use that for your domesticated animals. But if there's no longer any food for the undomesticated animals in the field, well then you can't stash anything in your house anymore for your own domesticated animals. And therefore, when we say that the same thing applies also once it hits the second rain. Once it hits the second rain, you have to clear out the straw and things from your house. Omer Babo says, Babo, my lashon revia. What does it mean, revia? What's this yoreh? We say it's revia. Something that penetrates the ground. That these early rains penetrate the ground. Rav Yehuda, the Amar Rav Yehuda, that says Rav Yehuda, Mitra Baila de Aru, that rain is like the husband of the ground. Shenemar, as the Bible says, Ki kaisha yered ageshem v'ashelig min hashamayim, that like the rain and the snow falls from the heavens, v'shama liyoshuv, and the rain and the snow does not return to the heavens, ki im hirves haaretz, rather it saturates the land, v'holida v'tzmicha, and it births it and makes it sprout. So we see that rain is a reference to sort of birthing and like a husband and wife. All right. V'amar Babo says Babo Revia Rishona, that when is that how do we define this first Revia, this first rain? That it penetrates the ground a one tefach. And then the second Revia is that the mud becomes kind of like a consistency that you can use to like seal a barrel with it. It's like I don't know, thick. Amar of Chizda says of Chizda Gesham Sheyardu K'dei Laguf Ben Pi Chavis Ein Ben Mishum Va'atzu. So it says of Chizda that if it's rained enough so that the ground is moist enough so that the dirt can be used to seal a barrel, Ein Ben Mishum Va'atzu. Well, then it's clear that you've passed the Va'atzu mark. What does that mean? So the Pasuk says in Kriya Shema, right, that if we don't pay attention, so then that the Eibishter is gonna close up to hold back the heavens, and there won't be any rain. So it says with Chizda that if it's rained enough so that the ground is wet, is like muddy, that you can use to like seal a barrel, well then you sort of pass the danger zone, right? You can be assured that you don't have to be concerned about this curse of the Atzer Es HaShamayim. V'amar Chizda says of Chizda Gesham Sheyardu Kodem Va'atzer Ein Ben Mishum Va'atzer. So Va'atzer here means two separate things. So it says of Chizda that rain that falls before Va'atzer, how should we do this? Here's the thing. Va'atzer, one of these Va'atzers is referring to Kriya Shema, and one of the Va'atzers is referring to the curse of not having enough rain. So let's read that again and go weiter for a second, and it'll make more sense. So V'amar of Chizda Gesham Sheyardu Kodem Va'atzer. So rain that fell before Va'atzer, essentially rain that fell before Kriya Shema. Okay, morning or evening, we'll have to see in a second. But basically, any rain that fell before Kriya Shema, Ein Boem Mishum Va'atzer, you don't have to. So then you're good. Meaning, clearly, you don't have to worry about there being a drought because it rained before Kriya Shema. Amar Abai lo Amarin Elikodem Va'atzer de Orta. So this is Abai. What this means is that if it rains during the day before you read Kriya Shema of night, so then that's a good thing. You don't have to worry about Va'atzer. You don't have to worry about sort of the curse of drought. But if it rains sort of at night before you read Kriya Shema of the morning, well, that is not necessarily a very helpful rain. When it rains during the day, it's helpful. When it rains at night, it's not. The Amar of Yehuda bar Yitzchok. Okay, says Rav Yehuda bar Yitzchok. Hani anoni de tzafra. These morning clouds, leizbu mashasha. There's nothing significant about them. Tichsiv, as the pasuk says, Ma'aseh lecha Ephraim. What will I do for you, Ephraim? Ma'aseh lecha Yehuda. What will I do for you, Judah? V'chazchem ka'anon boker v'gomer, and your chesed, your good deeds are just like morning clouds, i.e. morning clouds that are insignificant and don't really make a difference. Amar Leira Papa Labai says, Papa Labai, but one second, don't the people say, isn't there a saying, B'miftach bavei mitra, that when the gates open up with rain, that if basically when in the morning it's raining, so if they open up their gates in the morning and they see that it's raining, Bar Chamra, donkey driver who drives around to different places to sell grain, mochsakech ugni, just fold up your sack and go back to sleep, because there's going to be so much abundance that you're not really going to get a great price right now for your grains, because there's going to be so much growing, and so therefore we see that these morning rains are taka very, very good. So lokasha the koter be'eva or the koter banani. It depends. If there's like real rain clouds, so then these morning rains are beneficial. But if it's just like light clouds, so then they're not like particularly beneficial. And when it says that these anan bokers, these like morning clouds are like not particularly significant, so that's a reference to these sort of lighter clouds, not like real gishmaka saturated rain clouds. Okay. Amar Yehuda says, it's good when the month of Well, it's good for the year when the month of Teves doesn't have rain. Ikadamri, Dulobari Tarbitse. Some say it's because the yeshivas, where they're marbitz Torah, where they spread Torah, where they study Torah, will not be empty, right? Meaning, if in the month of Teves, there's no rain, so then it will be easy to travel, right? The roads won't be all muddy, and it'll be easy to travel to the yeshiva to study Torah, so that's a good thing. There are those who say that when it doesn't rain in Teves, then there won't be a sort of shidafon, which is like a great like storm that ruins crops. So but 1 second, is that really true? 1 second, but Rav Chizda says that it's taka good for a year when all the roads are all muddy in Teves, because that means that it rained a lot. So 1 second, do we want there to be rain in Teves, or do we not want there to be rain in Teves? Lokasha, it's no problem. It depends. If it had already rained beforehand, so then we don't need the rain in Teves, and people can get to yeshiva, and there won't be these sort of ruinous storms. Fine. But if it didn't rain before Teves, so then Memela, of course, we want it to be rainy in Teves. Rav Chizda says, if you have rain that fell on part of a country or area, and in a different area it did not rain, don't worry about it. It's fine, because the places where it did rain, they'll be able to supply produce and stuff to the places where it did not rain. Is that true? But we have a pasuk, and the pasuk says, I've held back from you the rain, the katzir, when there's still another 3 months to harvest, and I will bring rain on one city, and on the other city I won't bring rain. One part will get rained upon. And says Rav Yehuda that they're both a curse. That God is saying that in one place He's going to bring rain, in the other place He won't bring rain, and we're saying that that's a bad thing. How could Rav Chizda say that there's no problem there? Lokasha the also tuva, how the also can be baile. It depends. If there's like a ton of rain, where it's like too much rain, so then it's a curse. But if it's just the right amount of rain, so it's no big deal. So one part gets the right amount of rain, they have food, and they could supply to the other part, so it's really not a big deal. So as long as the place that got rain got helpful rain, so then great. So we see that in that pasuk where the Eibishter is cursing the Yidden and saying, look, I'm going to bring rains on certain places, and other places I won't. It means that those places timater, they will be saturated with so much water that it won't even be helpful at all. But if it was just kind of regular rains in one place, so then they could supply rains to the other, like food and stuff to the other place, and that's fine. Amr Babo says, at what point do we bless the rains? When there's enough rain that the drops, when they fall on the ground, so then the water that's already on the ground kind of like splashes up, and it's as if the water that's splashing up is like coming towards the water that's falling, the rain that's falling, like a groom goes out to meet his bride. Okay, fine, that sounds fun. Now, what do we bless? Amr Yehuda, Amr Rav, Modem anachnu loch, we are thankful to you, Hashem Elokeinu, Hashem our God, Akol tipa v'tipa shorad tolanu, for every drop that you have brought down for us. For Yochanan, Messiah Ba'achi, Rabbi Yochanan would then conclude the bracha in the following way, Ilufinu malei shir kayom, if our mouths were filled with song like the sea, Lushanenirina kamongalav, and our tongues were rejoicing like the sea's many waves, chule ad ayazvunu rachmecha Hashem Elokeinu, that please don't leave us don't leave us without your mercy, God, v'lazvunu, and do not leave us alone, do not abandon us. Baruch rova odos, blessed is God with most of the praises. Rova odos v'lokol odos, why only most of the praises? Why not all of the praises? Amarava ema kela odos. Rava says, okay, so just say God of thanks. Papa says, hey, why don't we do this? Why don't we say both of them? Kelo odos, v'rova odos. That, okay. The God of, right, so rova odos, v'kelo odos, whatever. So most of the thanks, and also God of thanks, and all the thanks that we could possibly give, let's just give it. Well, friends, that was Daf Vav of Masechta Taanis. What did you guys think? We talked about the early rains, we talked about the later rains. We saw machlokas between Reb Meir, Reb Yehuda, and Reb Yossi about what are the three rains that make up the Yoreh rains. According to Reb Meir, it is the 3rd of Cheshvan, the 7th and the 17th. According to Reb Yehuda, it is the 7th, 17th, and 23rd. According to Reb Yossi, it is the 17th, 23rd of Mar Cheshvan and Rosh Chodesh Kislev. We said, what's the significance of these three dates? The significance is that the first of the three is when you'll start asking for V'sein Talamot Levracha. The third is that, well, if there hasn't been any rain until that point, so then the individuals begin fasting. In the middle one, we saw a few different opinions. One opinion was for vows, nedarim, that if a fellow makes a neder, we use as an example ice cream, that if a fellow says, I'm not going to eat ice cream until the rainy season, so it's talking about the second rain. We also said that when it comes to olives, if you want to chaperine olives from a field, so you wait until the second rain, and at that point you can just chaperine like leket shichcha and peah of olives from a field. So apparently by olives it's dafka shichcha and peah, but not necessarily leket. Okay, fine. So that's after the second rain. We also saw that in the context of Shemitah, that once already it hits the second rains, you have to get rid of like whatever straw you've been saving up in your house for the animals. And also we saw the opinion of a papa that when it comes to these walking in sort of private property in the summer months, you can only do that up until the Yoreh rains, until the second rains, at which point you can no longer walk through these shvilei reshus. Okay, then we saw different sort of things about like, is morning rain good? Is morning rain bad? It depends how much rain is in the clouds. Certain things like that. And at the end, we saw this bracha that you make on rain. Alright, very nice. Well, friends, that was Daf Vav, Masechta Taanis. Hope you enjoyed. Peace out.